Liverpool 3, United 1. What have I just witnessed, bruv? What have I just witnessed? Just so that United fans understand, because I know, innit, you're not too smart, innit, just for your level is... That's what you know, bruv. What just happened to you? I can't believe what I just witnessed. That is the worst Manchester United team that Liverpool have ever faced since I've been watching football. I am confident in saying that. Every time this match happens, anyone could normally win this game. Even when Liverpool were shit, when we were battling for 7th and 8th, this game would be our final. We would come to compete to try and win the game. We don't come for a draw. If the game pans out where you're getting battered, you obviously change your tactics and you go for the draw. But United were never, ever looking like to win that game. And the Liverpool, for me, was a complete performance with a number of chances, which they should have taken. But, boy, that is the worst United team I've ever seen.
I think I've been waiting for this video. I've been just waiting to do it. The first thing I wanted to say, just to address this whole situation to the Man United fans is...
I'll second that, right? The fourth that, bro.
Because the thing is, do you know what? I'd like to think, right, that most football fans in general... I know some people are biased towards their own clubs, of course they would be. But on the whole, a lot of teams would appreciate, if another team is doing well, you can appreciate it. You can turn around and say, you know what, fair play, they're decent. And that's one thing Man United fans have never been able to do. They've been spoiled. Sir Alex Ferguson spoiled that club, turned them into this team that was literally everyone's worst nightmare, and they were. But the one thing about Manchester United, what they have to understand is that they are going through that transition that Liverpool went through years back. And look where it ended for Liverpool. It hasn't. It still has not ended. We still haven't won a league title for that much time. So Manchester United fans have to appreciate where you're at the moment. And it's bad. Because today's performance for Manchester United... I was talking to somebody else today when I was watching the game. The Premier League needs a strong Manchester United. It's a given. They need a strong Manchester United. That is the worst Manchester United team I've ever seen. And you said that. I'd second that. And I've never seen a team so toothless in my life, a Manchester United team. In my existence, I've never seen such a toothless Manchester United team. They were dreadful. But that's taken nothing away from Liverpool. I thought Liverpool were unbelievably good today. With all the games that they've had, and they've won every single one. They've not dropped any points. They've been maximum points, as far as I can recall, for the last 2 weeks. We went from the 2 weeks how important it was, that's including Napoli. Granted, Napoli was at home, which makes life a little bit easier. Manchester United rested a lot of players against Valencia as well, so let's not get it twisted. But you can't take anything away from Liverpool's performance. They were ruthless today. They were ruthless. Manchester United were toothless. But I can't believe what I was watching from a Manchester United team. Form goes out the window. We've said it before. Form goes out the window. But today, that was woeful.
Garbage. That's the word look for.
And I'm not just saying it because I'm a Liverpool fan and there's a rivalry between the two clubs. Yes, that's a given. That is a given. Sometimes Liverpool have played against Manchester United and they've been useless. And we were the first ones to turn around and say we were absolutely disgraceful. You hold your hands up. But for me, it's weird seeing Man United put in a performance like that.
The thing is, I actually gave United credit in before this game coming out. I even said, just like you said there, forget the form. I said that, you know what, United could sneak a draw. Because Mourinho, the way he plans his teams out and all this kind of stuff, they could sneak a draw. But as the game went on, I just never looked like United were ever going to take any of that game. But I mean, going back to the first 20 minutes of that game, the speed of that game, the intensity was absolutely incredible. And United just could not match it at any stage. I mean, this is not just a chance for Liverpool to gloat or nothing like that. We're just talking facts. We're talking about football.
And this is just appreciation of football.
There's nothing to do with hating United. Nothing to do with that. It's just talking about football. And there's nothing there for me that from United's performance, I think they're up to a decent standard.
From watching that game, right, from the beginning to the end of that game, I spoke to a friend of mine yesterday at football, and he's a Manchester United fan. His name's Josh, and he said to me, he goes, and we both agreed on this. He goes, Mourinho lives for these sort of games. Tactics, tactically being aware, he lives for these sort of games. He goes, and we both said, I won't be surprised if they nicked a 1-0, Man United. Sit back, and just wait for an opportunity and nick a 1-0, shut up shop, take your 3 points, go home. We've been used to that from Mourinho teams before. When Chelsea's done it to Liverpool over the years, United have done it. They've got points. Like a point at Anfield for them is a great result. It always has been. Anybody says that. But not once in this game did I think that Manchester United are going to nick this. The goal which we'll get onto was one that came out of nothing. So, and I know Liverpool had 2 goals that were deflections, But Manchester United's goal was from nothing. It was just a mistake, it's a goalkeeping error.
But like you said, like if you have 36 attempts, one of them are going to deflect in.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We talk about this all the time. Stats can be manipulated to however you want. From a Liverpool perspective, it's great that you're carving out chances. But let's dissect those chances. 36 attempts at goal, of which how many were outside the box? At 1-1, at 1-1, Manchester United are happy with Nathaniel Clyne loading up and taking shots from 40 yards. They'll take that all day. Van Dijk and who else was it? Fabinho taking shots from miles away.
And all them, man.
Yeah, Genie. If there's one person you want to have a shot from outside the box, it's Genie.
Genie, bro.
You'll be like, you know what? Let him shoot. Fabinho. I don't mind. I mean, he had a good game today, obviously. But
Fabinho's arrived.
Yeah. No, that's fine. We'll get into that as well. But you think that Fabinho's going to beat De Gea from 40 yards?
Probably not.
Yeah, he should not. That's why Man United would have been like, yeah, go on, take shots. So the 36 shots, that's a side thing. But Manchester United just did not look like capitalising on that. Oh, they can have shots from outside the box and then we'll get our chance. It didn't even happen. Fellaini got into the box towards the end when it was 3-1. He got into the box. Remember he took that shot and he literally sat up beautifully just to strike. It hit the target. It went to the corner flag.
He hit a paramedic and the paramedic from the floor. That's what happened.
Well, that sums up the performance. That sums up their performance today.
I mean, like you just said about Fabinho, the guy has arrived. Right. That was a man of the match performance. I know Big Shaq took all the plaudits in that year, but Fabinho, if you're watching this, bruv, that was a fucking shift. That through ball, the weight of that ball, every time you watch it in slow motion, and even when how Mane took it, we said as well, when Mane missed his chance against Napoli, it's like chalk and cheese with him. Yeah. Like that was incredible. When you watch it in slow motion, for him to take it down like he did, the techers, the finish, everything was incredible. But Fabinho's performance, like he was crunching challenges, through balls, direct, going forward, move the ball quick, 1-2 touches, done. That was a masterclass performance from Fabinho.
And I think the other thing that was good was the defensive side of it.
Yeah.
Coming in and making those tackles and nicking the ball, not letting them start, not letting them get a touch and turn. The defensive side was brilliant, but he had the other side to it, which we talked about when we talked about Henderson, about keeping it moving. Do you have the other side of it? And today it was great to see. But I know you were really keen to talk about Fabinho, which was great. I wanted to personally talk about one particular player today, which I was super, super impressed with, which was Nathaniel Clyne. To come to not have played, to not make the bench, to be injured, to have had whatever's going on in your personal life or whatever, to come into this game, which is arguably everyone talks about is the English El Clasico. To come into this game, the magnitude, whatever's riding on it, to play against quick wide players, and to put in a performance like that, to look like you haven't even been away. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's a few times you looked at it and you thought he's breathing a little bit heavier, but that performance at that level in the Premier League, in the top league in the world, unbelievable.
They were saying, and no offense to Roy Keane in that, because you would assume that they goes put it on Clyne. That's the area I'll target. And we said it from the beginning of the game. We was like, put it on if you want. Because we rely on the guy. We trust the guy. When it comes to defence, Clyne is the boss. And I think there's United fans that actually laugh. I know United fans that laugh at Clyne. To come into slot in like that and play like he did. Like you said, he's not going to offer you what Trent does going forward. But he was trying to do the overlaps. And to come in like that.
Mate, I'll tell you what, United fans might have laughed. I'd take him over Dalot, whatever his name is, all day, every day.
Dalot, yeah, he is fucked. He was shit.
Dalot got flipping. He got mullered today. He got mullered.
They took him straight off as well.
And he had to. Dalot was useless. I thought, who else that they've got? They've got Darmian that plays. I'd take Clyne over Darmian. I'd take Clyne over. The only person in the Man United defence that I like, and I've got a lot of time for, is Eric Bailly. I really like Bailly. I think there's a player in there. And I look at the manager, because I don't think he fills his players with confidence. And I don't think you can when you're playing alongside the likes of Jones and Smalling week in, week out. But yeah, Clyne, for me, coming into that side, having not played for so long, he'll start at Man United. For me, if Clyne made that move, he'll start if he went to Man United.
That's a tough one.
Who would start ahead of him?
Who's it? Was it which side does Valencia play?
Valencia's on the way out of the club because they're not rating him.
Yeah, but like I like Valencia. I don't care. So I mean, that's a different topic. Yeah. Allison. Allison. Bruv, if that was Karius, if that was Mignolet, we'd be digging him out. So you're gonna get digged out. What the fuck? That was a simple, routine take. Now, that's not what you pay 70 million for. Now, I know all I'm trying to say is you have to be fair. That's why I'm digging him out. Obviously, it doesn't matter now. It's going to be forgotten. But that was shit. I'm sorry, bruv. Do you know what I mean? There's no excuses for that. And even the defenders made it, even people saying like Souness, I'm not having Souness. He was saying Lovren should have done more. What more do you want as a keeper for a ball to be coming in at this height, at that pace? What more do you want from your defence? He don't have to slide in and look like a fool in case Lukaku comes back inside, right? I'm sorry, but that was poor. And you have to pull him out on it. I mean, you've been in goal, bruv. There's no, I know it's wet. I know the ball fell down and hit his knee and all that, but what you got to say?
It's fine. It was the ball just moved. Nah, listen, you've just got to be honest, yeah. Listen, the difference is the reason why people probably will go softer on Allison is because of what he's done up to this point. Keepers will make mistakes.
They will. 100%.
Goalkeepers make mistakes, just like a centre forward will miss a sitter, right?
Or a defender makes an error.
Yeah,
whatever.
It happens. It will happen. It will always happen. De Gea has done it. You know, he does it still to this day, and he for me is the best keeper in the world.
Yeah, he did against Arsenal, innit? Without straight.
They will make mistakes. It's how you come back. For me as a goalkeeper, having played in goal, it's how you come back from that mistake. It's what you do to eradicate that out of your mind. Is the difference between just a goalkeeper, a good goalkeeper, and a top-class goalkeeper. I believe he's a top-class goalkeeper and this is why, because he made the save against Napoli. That was why we progressed. He made a mistake today. Post that mistake, his mentality was so strong. You saw what happened to Karius. He fell away, and it's Champions League final. He made a mistake. This guy today made a big mistake, right? That's a clanger, right? But goalkeepers will make mistakes. How do you recover? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay true to my principles. We're going to play out.
The goals came from
a couple of the goals came from him starting the move. So it didn't phase his performance as a whole. That particular moment, what happened there is that's shit. That is really shit. It's proper shit, man. Yeah, because you can't, those sort of mistakes, you can't be making them against the Man Cities of the world. If Man City were, that was against Man City and that happened, it's game done. It's finished. It's finished. Because they know how to capitalise on that. They know, right, well, we're 1-1 now. Now we'll just sit in. We'll just sit in now and then we will just keep picking them off because Liverpool are going to keep coming. But like I say, it's how you recover from it. And that's where I believe he's the difference. He's different to the other goalkeepers because he didn't get phased. There was a ball that came in. Someone took a shot and it was skidded through and he took it clean. And I thought, you know what? Okay, he's made a mistake. Goalkeepers make mistakes. Hopefully he can recover from it. And I believe that he did and he finished the game strongly and we won the game. You can't just brush it under the carpet because it was a horrible mistake. Because that wasn't even... there was no malice in that ball. Mm-hmm. It's hard. I would not dig out Lovren for that. Because as a defender, you should be thinking, right, if I take him here, take him to this spot, and I don't dive in, he can't pull the cross back to the penalty spot because it'll have to go over me. It's physically impossible to get the ball over him from where he was. The only way it can go is in front of me, and that means it's going to go into an area where the keeper is. And this is their centre forward, their lone striker, who's got the ball out wide in a crossing position. So as a defender, I believe I think he's done his job there. Yeah, you argue he could be a bit tight, a bit more aggressive, but if he's a bit more aggressive and he has the ability to check back, in those conditions, you can't recalibrate. So I believe it's harsh. I don't think you can dig out Lovren. The blame there lies with the goalkeeper. He's made a bit of a horrible mistake, but as I say, he recovered well, and the rest of the performance, he finished well.
I always dig out Klopp on his subs. Yeah, today he baffled me. He shocked me. I think it was the 60th minute or 65th minute, he brought on Big Shaq. And it turned the whole game on his head. He obviously saw something there, that the gaps, because you saw the shot that you said, Gini had shots off, Fabinho had shots off, they were allowing that room and that space outside the box to keep it compact.
That surprised me. That did surprise me for Manchester United.
It did. But I think they obviously backed themselves. You wouldn't do that if Gerrard was there. You wouldn't be leaving those areas free. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that was good planning because they kept it compact, and that's why Liverpool, even though they created a lot of chances, weren't clear-cut chances. But I mean, Big Shaq, bruv, he came on. Like you said, you need to gamble, bruv, with some of these shots. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened.
Buy a ticket. You got to buy a ticket. If you want to win the lottery, you got to buy a ticket.
That's what I'm saying. He came on. He's straight, direct, and like you said, the surface was wet. And I think Liverpool earned those opportunities and goals.
I think that the thing about the tactics, right? So if you do sit back and you invite people to take shots, right? With a goalkeeper like you have in goal, you back him to save 90% of those, which he did. But on the flip side to that, the only caveat to playing that type of football and inviting that is that there's a lot of bodies in the way. And there will be deflections and they will take nicks because you've got that many people behind the ball in a confined space. So if you do manage to get a shot off, buy a ticket, as it were, there's always a chance that you might get something. Yeah. So that's why it's a risky tactic to play, to sit deep, win the first ball and deal with the second ball. But as long as the second ball's sort of midway through our half, let them shoot. So I think it's a risky tactic and it proved that because De Gea is only human. Those 2 goals, what can you do about those? Yeah. You know what I mean? If there's so many bodies in the way, what can you do?
It always takes something special to beat De Gea, but I think if Liverpool earned those opportunities, and it was just one team in it, really, right? I mean, the Liverpool's whole team, performance as a team was fantastic. So we could go on this whole video just talking about every single player. I mean, Robertson, absolutely, that header that he did off the back of the back post with Fellaini, it went for a throw in. But he was like, even Mourinho mentioned it today.
I was tired watching him.
I'm just tired watching the guy up and down. And like I said, people digging out, you know who he is. If you're digging out Robertson, the guy can't give anything more to the club. As far as I'm concerned, he can keep learning his trade, fair enough, but the guy cannot give any more. Like that's what you want your United players to do, is to wear the badge with pride, right? And that's what I give.
He epitomised it today.
Exactly. We mentioned Sadio Mane and Bobby. Bobby was back today to his best.
Bobby was at it. There was a time when he got that shot off when De Gea made that save when he full stretch. Again, I mean, I know going back to Manchester United, but if you're a Man United fan, manager, coach, defender, there's 4 people around him. 4 people. He's wriggled away from 4 people to get a shot off. Come on, man.
Yeah, he was a pest.
And yeah, Firmino's a very tricky player. And when you've got Mane, Firmino and Salah, there's a threat from all different angles. Sadio Mane was relentless today. He really was. Salah was a constant threat. But when Firmino's at it as well, like today,
I don't think Salah was a constant threat. I think Lindelof.
But he can score from nothing, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, okay. You can't switch off. You can't think, well, he's not at it today because he might not be at it for 70 minutes. And then he'll switch it on for the last 10, 20 minutes and you score a goal, which has proved he can do that. So you can't not you can't not think about him. But when Firmino's doing stuff like that, picking up the ball, tight spaces, rolling it off, linking up play, then he's the first man in the box. It's a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare. But if he is doing that, what you have to do is, especially if you're going to have that many people behind the ball, is say to your midfielder, right, he doesn't turn. He does not turn. Fellaini, he don't turn. Whatever happens, he does not turn and get running at us and bring those 2 into the game. Sit on him. Just sit on him, sit on him. Don't let him take a shot with 4 people around him. People, if you're a goalkeeper, you'll be having kittens back there.
All right, to wrap this video up, there's no way that you can't not talk about United, right? And what's going on in the situation. Now, for me, one thing I wasn't having was Roy Keane and Gary Neville saying that basically directors didn't back Mourinho when they should have bought new centre-backs, right? For me, Lindelof did a fantastic job on Salah today. Salah was quiet. So all this chat about all the defenders and all this kind of stuff, he had a great performance and he kept Salah very, very quiet. Bailly, absolute beast. I would have him, I don't know about you, I would have him in my centre-back team with VVD any day. He's played against us twice and he's been fantastic. So then they spent 50 million on Fred. So you're telling me the directors didn't back you, but they give you 50 million for Fred, but you can't go get another defender if you need a defender. So I wasn't having that, thinking that this is what's going to change United. There's something for me, personally, something a lot deeper than just buying a centre-back to solve United's problems. And it's not just the defence. For me, they defended really well. If there was a lot of chances, they defended well as a unit. There was a time in that game I was thinking, is this going to go on and end 1-1? There was a time in there that I thought that. So I'm not buying this whole, the defence is the problem for Man United.
To jump in on that, if your defence is such a problem, that would mean that you don't need them. They're not good enough to be at the club. Jones and Smalling have just got new contracts, I believe. I believe there's new contracts being handed out. That's what correct me if I'm wrong, but I read something today that Chris Smalling has agreed a new contract to Manchester United. If the defence is that much of a problem, why are you rewarding them with new contracts? Why is this? What? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Now, going back to just to back up your point, Paul Pogba was on the bench today. Paul Pogba won a World Cup not long ago. Okay, Paul Pogba is one of the most expensive players in the league. Paul Pogba is being made out to be the scapegoat. Now, again, this goes back to Jose Mourinho. Every time his teams aren't doing well, it's never his fault. There's always a player that he's made the scapegoat. Paul Pogba under Pep Guardiola, under Jurgen Klopp, under Mauricio Pochettino, and potentially Maurizio Sarri, I believe, would be pulling up trees. Right? That's my personal opinion. Manchester United fans might disagree with me. Paul Pogba is not a bad player at all. But at the moment, he looks like he's been the scapegoat. He's been made the scapegoat. Alexis Sanchez, I know he's injured, but Alexis Sanchez was on £500,000 a week. £500,000 a week. Now, to turn around and say the club's not backing you when you're willing to spend £500,000 on a player that wasn't not doing it at Arsenal, right? I don't know about he's not backing you.
That's what I said. That's what Neville said.
Fred, what do you want them to do? Do you want them? It's not an open checkbook where they could. I know Manchester United are a very wealthy club. We know that they are, but that's all earned. They've earned that money, right? So, Man City's, they've got an open checkbook for a reason. Chelsea have had an open checkbook because they have billionaire owners for whatever. Manchester United are a cash-rich club because they've earned that money. But it's not going to last forever. They don't keep if there's no contingency in place. What do you want your owners to do? Right, you've signed Bailly, you've signed Lindelof, you've given Shaw a new contract worth 190 grand a week. You've given 500 grand a week to Alexis Sanchez. You've signed £100 million Pogba, £100 million Lukaku. You've signed, players at Fred for 50 million, whatever, right? Martial was 60 million. What do you want them to do? So we signed this Lindelof as a centre-half. Well, he's not good enough. Right, well, what do you want to do then? Do you want to just fuck him off and then get 7 more? Or what do you want, 50, 60 more million? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't.
So what do you think the problem is?
The problem I always thought the players, I was always all like, half and half. This is the manager. It is the manager. It's the manager. Unai Emery went into Arsenal. Arsenal have had Arsene Wenger at the helm for a number of years. Those same players towards the end of Arsene Wenger's regime, you heard it all. They're shit. The players are rubbish. Xhaka's dead. He's dead, fam. He's shit, fam. Right? Xhaka now won't miss a game, right, for Arsenal.
You asked them now about Xhaka.
Ramsey, right? Everyone's like, Rambo's dead. He's rubbish. He's going to be leaving, but look what he's been doing for you lot since he's been there, right? The same players that were under Wenger, they just weren't listening to him anymore. That voice is finished. It wasn't working. Unai Emery's come in. The guy's happy to shove you at half time. Yeah, you think you're a bad man, yeah? Yeah, you're playing shit, bro. Get off, right? That's what it needs. It needs someone to have a philosophy that's not dated. They've had, before Jose Mourinho, they had Van Gaal, right, who was of the same mindset. He's a coach. He's more of a coach, but they're both dated. They're both dated guys. There's no new injection. There's no excitement. They might as well have, when they might as well have sacked Mourinho and got the guy that's gone in at Southampton. Just to freshen everything up, energise the place. You might as well, because at the moment, Manchester United, those same players, I'm telling you, are not shit players. One of those guys just won a World Cup. Martial was in the squad. I know he didn't make the World Cup, but he was in that squad. He just won a World Cup. De Gea is the best goalkeeper in the world.
The thing is this, right? If you go compare team sheet from team sheet, there's a lot of talent in Man United's team, right? There's no way that team is shit. When I saw the team sheet, I'll tell you straight, I was so happy that there was no one matter. I was happy there wasn't Valencia. And these kind of players, and Martial, I was happy that he wasn't playing.
I don't know what was that. When he came on the pitch, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These kind of players are players that I think, you know what, they know what this game's about and they can make a difference. Valencia's been playing. When Liverpool should play Man United back in the day, all the old guns would come out. If Giggs ain't played for a while, Giggs is playing that game.
Park,
Scholesy, all these mans, because they know what to do for this game. But to wrap that point up though, like I said, if you go team sheet by team sheet, there's some serious talent at Man United. And the way that they're portrayed to be a shit team, it doesn't work for me.
They're not a shit team.
You wanted to touch on Lukaku because he's always getting digged out that he is dog shit. Do you agree with all the bad press that he's getting?
No, I don't. I actually feel sorry for him, and I don't really feel sorry for Man United players as a whole, because I believe that Manchester United fans and players all have the same mentality, and I always think it's a bit wrong. But I think he's getting a lot of bad press. Today, people were singling him out. He's not doing this, he ain't doing that, he's not doing this. If you look at that, every time that he was up against Van Dijk, he wasn't just up against Van Dijk. He wasn't, because there was always a triangle. As soon as the ball went up to him, boom, Van Dijk's right up his arse, right? So that means that if he wants to do anything, he's got to take it on his chest. Right in front of him, Fabinho Keita. Every single time. If that's the case, all he can do after that is flick. To who? You're the last man. The service to Lukaku is shocking. You can't expect him to hold the ball against top centre-half like that, and he's got world-class midfielders in the middle of the pitch. It's the service around him. He is not a bad football player. The thing people seem to forget is that he gave Van Dijk the most problems I've seen from a centre-forward in the air today. Would you agree with that?
I wouldn't say problems, but the aerial battles, like you're saying, right? The aerial battles between them two, he actually come out the best.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I mean problems. Because Van Dijk's normally so comfortable of winning headers all the time. He'll win the headers. His time headers. Lukaku was giving him problems today in that. He was beating him in the air. So at that point, you'd probably turn around and say, well, okay, well, let's just get, maybe go and get Martial to go and play off him and say, right, we are going to go long. We're going to accept that the ball, we're going to have a lot of Liverpool going this way. But what we're going to do is we're going to clip. We're going to stay brave and we're going to clip and we're going to find Lukaku and we're going to go Martial, gamble off him. Just something as simple as that. Because to turn around and say he's the problem, he's the cause of every problem, it's wrong. It's wrong. They showed a clip today of how he was badding up Lovren when Liverpool played against Man United at Old Trafford. And it was because he was doing this, because he was doing that. But the service was better. There was players closer to him. Because if you watch that same clip, Martial was going the other way. There was no one going in behind. So you got to get off his back and look at the rest of the players. The one thing, to wrap up the point about Manchester United, about it being a toothless performance, and it was piss poor. Manchester United were piss poor today, right? But the reason I go back to the manager for them is because you cannot, right? And I know everyone says around and says, oh yeah, but a player and he has to run. Manager can't make the player run. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. But the reason he can do that is because Klopp has... Look at Daniel Sturridge, for example. As much as I give Daniel Sturridge a hard time, Daniel Sturridge, under Klopp, runs. He has to run. Because if you don't buy into what we're doing, you won't play. And a footballer, you can be on as much money as you want. He wants to play football. Look at Alexis Sanchez. He gets fed up when he's not playing, and he's probably one of the best paid players. So as a manager, you've got to create their environment that makes that player want to buy into what you're doing. Pochettino, his players will run for him, right? Emery, players will run for him because they know if I'm not doing it, I'm off. Do you know what I'm saying? So I believe that Manchester United's problem comes from the manager. Those same players, another manager can go into that place and get a better tune out of them players, and I'm sure of it because they're not bad players. But today, they were miles off it. They were toothless. They were scared. This is the first time I can turn around and say, I wish we could play you every week. I could comfortably say that I wish we could play you every week. It was piss poor.
I mean, how many times have you seen a Man United manager say Liverpool were better than us? They're a better team than us. They're a better team than us. That's what he said. Now, I want to praise Mourinho for being honest. This is the first time I've seen Mourinho in a post-match interview and he said honest things. Sometimes he just chats shit. But today, he actually said the facts because we were way better and I think the draw wouldn't have been fair. But he was 100% honest with the way the game turned out. But the thing is, as United fans, you've got to ask yourself now, is the gap is too big in points, not just between Liverpool, forget all that kind of stuff, just even to get to top 4. Are you going to get top 4? Let's be honest. I don't think so. You're, I think, 11 points, 14 points off top 4. So, for me, I think Mourinho, I'm with him as well. I think Mourinho's a problem. He needs to go. And we said it before, Poch is the man.
Poch has got to be the man.
Tottenham fans ain't going to like that, but Poch is the man.
For United, it has to be. But put it out to one side because... fuck United because I do think I don't like Man United. Going back to Liverpool, the performance was top draw, exhilarating. That was us at our best. The front three was slick. Everybody across the pitch, everybody on that pitch, that game meant so much to them. And it's lovely to finish the weekend on top of the league. And on to the next one.
And share all your views and comments on this video. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.